Hello. This is part 2 in a 10-part series of my ideas on how we can control healthcare costs and fix many of our problems. Today we're going to talk about personal responsibility. No, personal responsibility is not profanity. It's something we're going to have to deal with. We are all a huge part of the problem in this country, and we've got to be part of the solution. And we've got to take it upon ourselves. So everyone knows that we spend more money per capita in this country on healthcare than any other country in the world, by a lot. And that's true, absolutely true. But we also have to look at why that is and what are a lot of the factors of it if we're going to deal with it. There are a number of other areas where we also lead the world. We lead the world in caloric intake per capita. That's right, we eat more than anybody else. But we're 15th in the world in cost per capita for food. We have a lot of cheap food available to us as a country. We're number 1 in the world with housing availability, which is a pretty good thing. We're number 1 in the world in disposable income. We've got a lot of money lying around that we can spend on food and other things. We're number 2 in the world on substance abuse, only because the Soviet Union has a massive alcohol problem. So let's take a look at this. We've got a lot of disposable income, relatively speaking, affordable housing available to us, and a lot of cheap food. That leads to a sedentary lifestyle and a lot of other healthcare issues. And let's look at those issues. We're number 1 in the world in obesity, by a lot. We are number 1 in the world in diabetes. If this were a race, we couldn't even see who's in second place in diabetes in the world. We have almost as many diabetics in this country as the other 38 developed nations put together. That's right. We have almost as many diabetics in this country as the rest of the world combined. That takes a huge burden on our healthcare delivery system. And as I said, we're number 2 in substance abuse. And in that I include not only illicit drugs, but alcohol and tobacco. So what does that do to our country? Well, there have been estimates that the healthcare cost alone of obesity is $200 billion a year. The healthcare cost for diabetes, $300 billion a year. And the healthcare cost for substance abuse, $800 billion a year. You add those all up and we're spending $1.3 trillion a year. That's almost half of all the healthcare money we spend on 3 things that are largely self-imposed. We have to deal with that. Now, the problem with healthcare in this country is there's no negative side effects of those personal decisions. Your health insurance doesn't go up if you're an overweight diabetic who abuses alcohol and smokes 10 packs a day. You pay the same as a very healthy individual who isn't making those life choices. Now, hold on. I'm not suggesting a fat tax or anything like that. What I'm suggesting is we create a situation where there are incentives for healthier choices, where people can get breaks for making good decisions. It's not a new concept. We've all seen the State Farm car insurance ads where somebody says, don't mess with my discount. The little apps that show that you're driving appropriately or obeying the speed limit, and they'll give you a discount because they know that if you make those choices, you're less likely to get into an accident. We could do the same thing in healthcare. We could give discounts for weight management, for active diabetes management, for not smoking or not abusing drugs. We could have those things certified by a primary care physician. That's going to do 2 things. One, it's going to make sure that we're incentivizing positive behavior with lower cost for health insurance for those choices. And 2, people are going to have to go to a primary care physician once a year to get it recertified. And that's a good thing. So we could create an environment without punishing people, if you will, but that creates positive incentives for healthy choices. What could that do? Well, let's look at it this way. If we could just curb the cost of those 3 areas by 10%, we'd save $130 billion a year. That's almost half of all the Medicare Part B payments annually. Get that again, almost half. If we could curb that by 20%, we have just paid for all Medicare Part B, that's physicians and hospital outpatient costs, all Medicare Part B payments for a year by just controlling those 3 issues and reducing them by 20%. Imagine, if you will, a scenario where 4 guys are sitting in a bar, they're getting ready to watch the game, and one of the guys says, hey, who wants to join me in a plate of chili cheese fries? And the other guy's, man, not me. Don't mess with my discount, dude. That's where we need to go, and that's personal responsibility. Thank you.